parents encouraged me to drop out of high school, which when I tell that to other aspiring young musicians and then they tell their parents, it comes back to me. They're not so happy. You're telling my kid to drop out of school? I was traveling by the time I was 16 and signed my first big record deal. And that was with the group Poor Old Lou, which kind of opened doors.
These wonderful words are not on a magical so.
It literally was as simple as I wanted to start making my own albums of my music, because before I was the guy behind the drum kit in bands. As soon as I started doing solo material, I just wanted to be able to record it without having to go to a studio. So that was really my motivation, very selfish. And it's like a way to keep doing music. Like I said before, it's like there's a lot of different things that I can do in the music world, and I have to find some of them that actually pay bills. Picture this, sit down, picture you just get interviewed for a job where they say this is gonna be amazing. You're gonna work tons of hours, you're gonna spend money working, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to do 5 or 6 people's different jobs for them, and you're not sure if you're gonna get paid. And you'd be like, yeah, that sounds like, who would hear that and be like, that's a really good idea. Some days I love it, and some days I ask myself, like, why am I doing this? And then I like think, okay, because like, you know, any other option would be ridiculous. The fact that not only am I a musician, but I'm a recording engineer / producer or whatever, seeing people's ears are just getting accustomed to very processed, simple, dumbed down music. I want the music to feel organic, is what I'm hoping. Maybe that's even in marketing or finding the niche of the studios. It seems like bands that have that either bluesy or folky or rock or, you know, whatever it is, indie rock kind of vibe. You know, because every business like this has to have kind of like their strengths and everything. Yeah, I got five chitlins. First 3 are girls, so I got used to that dynamic. Quote, well, used to, that's a relative term. And then the next 2 are boys, so that's where I got my superheroes. We actually have a couple family albums that are groundbreaking for family fun. We did one last winter because I was literally losing my mind. I'd never been through a winter like last year, especially being from the West Coast. So we, in the matter of a couple weeks, we started and finished an album, and I kind of had them join in with me. And then we did a Christmas album this year. So, I mean, I wish there was a simple message for people to get, but life's not simple. So you get advice sometimes to follow your dreams and everything, but you also don't want to be an idiot and ruin your life. So trying to find a balance between doing what you're... Maybe it's like... Purpose is a word that has come into my head all week. Because you can make... Even when I have a good week and I'm making money, it's like if I don't feel like I have some purpose and I'm moving towards something that means something, like I kind of don't care if I'm paying my bills, you know. But that's seriously why, I mean, even like that volunteering in East Africa that I do is a huge part of my life, and it's been a very frustrating couple years not being able to go out there, even though we're still currently working on that album that we're doing. But that was just something that was a natural like response. I've been to Uganda 7 times, and that relationship kind of evolved as I kept going back with these kids that are all street kids, but they're very musical kids. And they always want to talk music and play music and all that kind of stuff. So we're literally doing an album producing their songs with our music over it, because any studio out there just has, you know, a computer and one mic, and they do all the music just with sequencing in the computer. Like they don't have any way to do live instruments. So we took their voices in the songs and then came back and played all the music over it. So it's pretty much to the mixing stage right now, and then with the hopes of somehow supporting that community. I had an opportunity to go to Africa, and I met some people that I fell in love with, and that's as simple as that. You know, people can argue about how efficient it is, or if you should do something locally and this and that, or whatever, you know. But if they're not doing anything productive, then what the hell are they gonna do? but that's a huge part of it too, and that's a blessing to be able to, as we were talking about, being blessed, to mix music with purpose and with some sort of, you know, cause or whatever, that kind of a thing. You know, there are times where I just sit there like, why am I doing this? Like, I feel like an idiot. Like, I feel like, you know, blah, 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 you know, because we all get emotional. But then you have some random person just, like, I'm inspired that you're, you know, following your dreams, or you're doing what you know, need to be doing. Or even when people see that stuff in Africa, which I don't ever want to seem like I'm doing it just so people can pat me on the back. Like, oh, you went to Africa, great. But I love it, though, so if it does inspire people, great. If not, and they want to complain about it, then that's fine. But that's, at the end of the day, you know, I feel like I'm struggling to get by and that I'm quote-unquote a failure in providing and making a living, but other people could be like, man, you've had a recording studio open for 10 years, you know, recording bands from all over the place and, you know, touring and doing this kind of stuff. They're just like, that's success. So defining what success means, I think, is something we have to keep looking at, because you could think you have a definition, and then it, you know, if you really let yourself try to figure out what it really means without being kind of poisoned to think, you know, it means whatever it means on the television, so to speak. I'll say the television is now cell phones, but that's a huge thing though, because I struggle with that, trying to figure out, you know, am I even doing what I need to be doing or succeeding in any way? I guess just that I'm still here doing it is a success. Like, a lot of bands have come to me like, how do you make it? And the advice with that is literally, I hate it. The only thing I can think of is kind of corny, but what we were talking about before is like literally being yourself and following your heart, because with me, like, none of it was deliberate. Like, when I was 16, I wasn't like, let's market the band so we can get a record deal and start touring, and then I can do this, you know, engineering and blah, blah. It all just happened, and it's always who you know, unfortunately. I would just try to do what you're meant to do, and that's what I do when I'm teaching drummers, is like, I want to take whatever is built in you and enhance that and have you be okay with it. So whether it's playing an instrument or engineering, producing, all that kind of stuff, there's niches and little areas for all that stuff. So I mean, I don't have the answers, because I still wake up kind of not knowing where I am or why I'm here. But a lot of what happened to me was, I wouldn't say a fluke or luck. It may have been fate, but it definitely wasn't me deliberately planning, like, I gotta get a record deal and have people think I'm important. Being the part of a bigger picture is really healthy, and that's probably the most important part of the advice, I think, honestly, because like, if you don't find a way to network with either bands or other musicians or producers and stuff, then it just falls apart, and there's backbiting and there's all that nightmare. So being who you are and staying connected communally, I think, is huge. I know I'm supposed to say no, but I would probably try to learn more about the music business when I was younger and not being taken advantage of in a lot of ways. But they say it all adds to your character and makes you who you are. So I hope that's true. And I would probably have worked harder on practicing when I was younger, because it's not like I was cocky, like I thought I was great, but I still didn't realize how important it was to really dig into your, especially with my drumming. So now I'm playing a lot more, and I'm feeling the pain up in here. Work hard, be yourself, and keep your friends. That's really what it comes down to. to never care. Eventually the breeze will be a warm delight, with imagination running through the air. Hold the name of the one you love, as brighter days are surely yet to come. For the beautiful and the tattered one, and for now